What's up guys, Orain here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro Max, two iPhones that came out back in September. Last week we did a quick revisit of the iPhone XR just to kind of give an update on whether it's still worth a purchase in 2020. This one is kind of a little bit different because these phones are not that old, but considering that the iPhone 12 is actually right around the corner, I figured I would take a look at these because maybe these are your best bet if you're looking for a flagship iPhone in 2020 or 2021 and not the iPhone 12, because these will be available at a discount with some really cool updated internals, a good camera system. We're going to go over all of that in this video, and then at the end we're going to reach a conclusion on whether you should be looking at these, or if you're looking for something a little bit more, maybe you should be looking at the iPhone 12. Either way, without further ado, let's get started. So one of the pro things about this phone is definitely the build quality of it itself. I think Apple put a lot of work into how this phone looks, how this phone actually feels in your hand. I think a lot of thought process was placed behind making sure that it felt like a pro device, looked like a pro device, and I think the design of this phone had a lot to do with that. So now when it comes to build quality, the design of this particular iPhone, the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, are basically identical to what you would see in the XS and XS Max. The regular Pro version is 8.5 inches, the Pro Max is 6.5 inches, and it's a full HD OLED display. It basically stretches from edge to edge, as you can see, with very minimal bezels going around. You still do have the notch for the true depth front facing camera, but there's a lot of camera technology inside this particular notch itself that does kind of warrant the notch being there. You have the face unlock, face ID, and you can do a lot of different new things with the front facing camera that's in here. You can shoot 4K videos, slow motion videos, so there's a lot of camera technology in here as well. But other than the notch, you're really getting a full screen display on this phone. It's weighty, feels a little bit heavier than the older phones that came out before it, but I like the weightiness, I like the heaviness in your hand, and I like the premium build. But on the back you have kind of like this frosted type glass finish, and it just makes the phone kind of stand out a little bit. It's not as shiny, not as glossy, it doesn't look as glassy, I guess that's the word, as other phones that are out, but I do like the finish that's on the back of this phone. I like the screen, I like the display, I just like the overall build quality of this phone. I think it's a premium build, and I think Apple did a really great job of making this phone kind of look and stand out as a pro device. Now they're actually saying that this is probably one of their most durable glass. They did some kind of double tempered treatment on the glass to make both the back and front glass as durable as possible. I found that this phone is extremely durable. You can see that it's pretty much in tip-top shape, and I've had it since it came out actually, so over half a year, and I do rock it sometimes with a case and without a case, and I've dropped it once or twice, and there are some maybe like little slight scratches that you would see around, but nothing that's too pronounced or nothing that's too obvious. I would definitely recommend a case. I don't have a heavy duty case, I just have like a really standard case that I got off Amazon, and it does the job. I think the phone is extremely durable. I think it's going to hold up to most day-to-day things that you're going to be doing anyway with it. I don't think you need anything too heavy duty on it, especially if you take care of your devices the way I do. This is a pretty durable phone, and I can find that it stands up to just about almost anything. Now it is water and dust resistant. It has an IP68 rating, which means that it can be immersed into up to 13 feet of water for about 30 minutes. I wouldn't suggest dumping this in any water. It's not waterproof. It's water resistant, so if you have like splashes, or if you're out in the rain or any kind of moisture gets near it, you won't have to worry about too much. I wouldn't make it a point to dunk it into a vat of water for any other reason than it was an accident, but it can survive up to 13 feet for 30 minutes. And another cool aspect of this phone that I really like, and I think goes underappreciated, is the speakers on the phone itself. It has kind of like a simulated surround sound, and I found that when I'm consuming media or watching videos on it, I really enjoyed playing the audio out of the speakers itself. It sounded really good. Give you a quick inkling.
Thanos did exactly what he said he was going to do. He wiped out 50% of all living creatures. We lost. All of us.
As you can see, the speakers on this thing are phenomenal. There are pro level speakers. Now, there's no way you can actually have a pro device unless you have pro internals, and that A13 Bionic chip that Apple placed inside the iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max does a fantastic job of making this a pro device. So the A13 Bionic processor that's inside is an upgrade from the A12 that was in the XS and XS Max, and it's about 20% faster, 30% more efficient, and it has has a 20% faster GPU that's also 40% more power efficient as well. So when you're looking at the CPU cores that are inside this device, you can do gaming, you can do media, just about anything that you can think of. The device is going to handle it. It's going to handle it perfectly. You can tell by the specifications and the efficiency that they placed into the A13 chip that they had an idea that they wanted this phone to be used as a workhorse for people who are just producing content, producing media, consuming media, gaming, anything that you wanted to do on your device. You should be able to do on this device with the A13 chip. And I didn't really run into any kind of performance issues when it came to anything that I kind of threw at the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And I can really say that it's been a pro experience using this phone to do just about anything I can think of, including shooting video, editing video, and gaming. Now, dealing with any kind of mobile device screen is extremely important because it's what we look at. We consume media through it, we consume information through it, we are continually looking at it to social media or swiping at it. So the screen was extremely important. I think Apple put a lot of thought into it. Now, when you're looking at the screen itself, you do have an XHDR type display on the screen. It supports HDR10. It's a Super Retina screen. And the screen is fantastic. It displays a wide range of color gambits perfectly, blacks, deep blacks, natural color. Everything that looks as it is in the real world looks very natural on the screen itself. I like consuming my media on it. I like gaming on it, YouTube videos, Netflix, anything that you can kind of think of to do on a screen was done perfectly on this screen. And I think they did a really good job of bringing that out. And it's just your media consumption hub for everything that you want to do. Now, the camera is what makes this a pro device in Apple's retrospect anyway. And I think the camera has become one of the, if not the main focal point of any mobile device out. And no one really does cameras better than Apple. And Apple put a lot of work into this 3-camera display that's on the back of the iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. And I think they did a really good job of just making their camera setup different from everybody else's camera setup. Now, the Pro version of these have the front-facing camera that's 12 megapixels, 60 frames per second, that shoots 4K and does slow motion video, slow-fies, as Apple likes to call it. But the main draw is going to be the back camera. So you have a 3-camera display. You have an ultra wide, wide, and a telephoto lens. So the ultra wide is a 12 megapixel f2.4 aperture. The wide angle is going to be a 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture, and the telephoto is going to be a 12 megapixel f2.0 aperture. I've used a lot of different mobile cameras. I have my Samsung Galaxy Note 10, and I can honestly say that the iPhone 11 Pro Max camera is unmatched for me anyway. I've shot a lot of my B-roll using this camera, and it's come out perfectly integrated with my professional camera that I actually have here. So I can really say that this is a pro level camera. You can do a lot with it, and just naturally taking it out and shooting without doing any kind of optimizations to it, any kind of tweaks to the system itself, it always baffles me at how good videos and photos actually come out of this camera itself without, again, any kind of tweaking on my end. It's just a fantastic camera, and I think Apple did a fantastic job of bringing a pro level camera to their iPhone. The battery life in iPhones for me has always been a hit or miss. Some of my iPhones give me great battery life, some of them gave me terrible battery life. This one was somewhere in between. Now, battery wise, you have a 3046 milliamp hour battery on the Pro, 3969 milliamp hour battery on the Pro Max. Fast charging, wireless charging. I am a heavy user. I do a lot of media. I consume a lot of media. I shoot a lot of media. So I'm using my iPhone continuously. I have a lot of screen on time, and I think that this iPhone does a good job of handling all of that. It gets me throughout the day with minimal charging needed. Sometimes I needed to charge late at night or before I went to bed. It didn't give me 2 days worth of battery. It would be like a day and a half tops, but the battery life on it is marginable. And if you're not a heavy user, if you're not using it continuously, and if you do manage your screen on time, unlike I do, you'll probably get some really great battery out of this phone. So let's circle back around to the question of whether you should purchase the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 11 Pro or Pro Max. It all depends on what you're you're looking for. I always say that. It does have an industry-leading camera. It has a great processor inside that's going to last the test of time for at least the next couple of years. Definitely the screen is beautiful. This is a pro-level device, and pro-level devices really don't go out of style too quick. If you're looking at the iPhone 12 just because you want the most updated processor, you want the most updated design or screen, I can understand that. But if you're just looking for a pro flagship level phone that's not going to kill your pockets, because when the iPhone 12 comes out, naturally by attrition, the price on these devices are going to go down. Not by a lot because it's Apple, but it's going to go down under probably $1,000 for the base model. So I would definitely recommend or consider you taking a look at the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max once the iPhone 12 is released as your flagship main phone for the next 2 years. I think these phones will last the test of time. I think the processing and the optimizations that Apple's put into these phones will definitely give them the ability to last the next couple of years. The camera system on it is fantastic. I know that the new iPhone 12 may have like a time of flight camera or something kind of thrown in, but you may never use that. The camera system on this one seems to be pro level. It's perfect. It takes great pictures. It takes great videos. My recommendation to you is, if you're looking to purchase an iPhone, take the time, wait to see what Apple does with the iPhone 12. When they debut it, kind of compare both to see which one suits what you're currently looking for, and take a hard look at the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro Max. I think they're really great phones. I think they stand the test of time, and I think they'll give you everything you need for the next couple of years without killing your pockets too much. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you currently own the iPhone 11 or 11 Pro Max? What do you think of the devices? Are you looking forward to the iPhone 12? Are you kind of shopping around to see what you want to purchase? Comment in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button with that bell for notifications so you don't miss when we release some cool, helpful content like this one. Until then, you can check out some information about the iPhone 12 here, and this is something YouTube believes you'd enjoy watching. Thanks so much again for checking out the video, and as always, stay safe and peace out.